Monster Talks USA. I am your host, Eric Monster Williams, and today we're back to discuss a few pressing issues that affect us all as Americans. The primary issue that we're going to discuss today is the Trayvon Martin death and the case of George Zimmerman, or I should say the acquittal of George Zimmerman, and the responses, the variety of responses that we have seen on TV, on the internet, different social media outlets, etc. I want to make this quick, and I want to get this video up quickly, so I may not take the time to edit the video because that draws the process out. So please forgive any mistakes that you might hear as far as my speech. I'll try to be calm. I'm very passionate about this issue, but I don't want to turn people away from hearing the message that I'm trying to get across to blacks, whites, Asians, Hispanics, etc. One main thing that I've seen that's really irritating is that there are some whites and blacks as well who act as if the African American community does not have the right to be upset about the verdict, simply because there are incidents of what people call black on black crime. And the term itself is a little irritating to me. It shouldn't be called black on black crime. It should be called poverty created crime or poverty related crime. When you look at what's actually taking place in most of these cases, it's directly related to the conditions that were created during and post-slavery. And what was a beautiful thing is that Obama mentioned this in a very tactful manner, and I'm very proud and respect the fact that he, as a president, made a decision to speak upon this. And I've voiced my opinion about this on Facebook as well. And I want to stick to the point. Again, the main issue is that if you're trying to kill a weed, you go after the root of the problem. So when you compare racism and what they consider black on black crime, black on black crime is the fruit of racism, which is the root of the problem. Again, if you look at racism, where the policy was to keep a group of people uneducated, out of good communities, as far as purchasing homes post-slavery, we're discussing. And again, it was systematic, even within the justice system. If you watch the movie Mississippi Burning, and you look at this Trayvon Martin case, you'll see close similarities in a all-white jury being a part of that system of racism, not convicting, and now having to go or rely upon the federal government to do the right thing and bring civil rights violation charges against George Zimmerman. So again, let's talk more action. I encourage everyone to call, write a letter, or visit the NAACP website and sign the petition to have civil rights violation charges brought up against George Zimmerman. Speaking about this too, I want to move fast. There are economic George Zimmermans that we deal with on a daily basis. I work for a Fortune 500 company, and there were 2 George Zimmermans that were brought in to do management and also to be the director of this facility or center, and their policies eliminated, let's say, 85% of the black jobs, and they were replaced in most cases by white employees. So not to go too far off on some tandem about what happened there, but I'm sure many of you have similar experiences. So when you deal with situations like this, you want to contact human resources, you want to contact an attorney, again, whoever you need to contact, the local news station, to shed light on these incidents, because again, when you have the economic George Zimmermans, they help breed poverty, and when you have poverty, you'll have crime. So we have to get rid of the economic George Zimmermans as well as the community watch George Zimmermans and any other type of George Zimmerman and or racist, because again, these racists now are essentially terrorists. They are terrorizing the peace and unity of the United States. When you have someone that brings division, that's bringing terror to the whole United States. And when we address racism, I want whites and any other nationality to be aware that when you see an African American who is very passionate about racism, they're not pointing the finger at you per se. Again, America is beautiful because you have a mixture of races, ethnicities, different cultures. That's what makes this such a beautiful place and a unique place. So we don't want to lose any individual group, because then we lose what we are and the uniqueness of America. And the other thing is, in regards to this, I encourage that once the Department of Justice brings George Zimmerman up for these civil rights violations, I encourage him to be a man and just confess to what he did. And I'd like to thank his friend Frank Taffy for mentioning on TV that they discussed that it was black males that were the criminals of the community. So George Zimmerman had a certain racial profile in his mind of what the criminal was, and he zoned in on Trayvon Martin because of that. So this will lead to his conviction, but I encourage him just to confess to the crime, because you need to be a man and accept the fact that with millions of people being upset and angry about this, you are not only putting yourself at risk, you're putting your wife, your mother, your father at risk, because again, this is the reality. Once people cannot locate you, they begin to look for people who are close to you. And I think that would be a sad thing. So I would encourage you as a man to just step up to the plate and just admit to your guilt of what you've done. And so, and I just want to quickly touch back on the black on black crime issue. Again, we don't say white on white crime because, you know, it's not the norm. But if you think about, okay, you know, you have Catholics and Protestants in Europe who have been at war for many years. And then you have a situation where you have priests who have molested kids over decades, you know, and these are white priests attacking white children, you know, and they don't say, oh, this white on white crime. So let's stop using the terminology black on black crime as if there is a whole race of ignorant people. You know, we have to stop using these blanket statements. Just like we just can't say races and the whites. No, we want to say the races and follow it up with a name, George Zimmerman. And you want to follow it up and be focused on who the offender is, because it keeps us all from being distracted. We all need to focus on the economy.